Welcome everybody to Parent Cafe Live. Today we are going to be talking about the science of superheroes. So really, why do our kids gravitate towards superheroes so much? Why did we gravitate towards superheroes so much? And we're going to discuss, the positives of that and some of the less enticing versions of it, and explore how we can continue to do that and use superheroes as a tool to our benefit, and let our kids grow and learn from the superhero experience. So why superheroes? So often kids identify with superheroes because they're trying to find their place in the world and assert themselves. So it's really good to do that pretend play with those characters and emulate all of those traits that the superhero characters have. Another part of it is kids get to pretend they have power. So they're in a world ran by adults. So it's nice to be able to assert themselves in play and explore those emotions and feelings when they are getting to exhibit power and show some independence. And it gives them just, the opportunity to be something different than they are. And that's enticing for anybody to be able to do that. So when they're getting to explore that power and independence, it can often increase their confidence. I think every kid can experience an increase in that. It would be useful for them. No matter how confident a child seems, they're always doubting themselves and looking to us for approval. So that's a good way for them to explore that on their own in a safe environment and play with that. And it also allows them to overcome challenges. So maybe they're struggling with some social emotional skills, so getting along with others and things. So you can use a lot of lessons from superheroes to help engage in your child and help learn them and use that as a teachable moment. It also gives them the power to overcome some things, and that looks really different in every situation. But if you watch your kids pretending to be superheroes, you'll see them navigate some things that they have found challenging. So they're working through and processing that with the power of this made-up character. One less desirable aspect of superheroes is the violence, right? So often this violence is portrayed in the name of good. So they are battling evil, taking down the villain, those that wish to do harm to others. Ideally, they're learning to protect and idolize good behavior. But with this violence, comes some ways to teach kids to act out their feelings and emotions. And there's been a recent shift with the way superheroes are portrayed. So it's a lot grittier than like when we grew up. And sometimes they're fighting with each other and they're just fighting in general. But you can explore that with your kids and navigate that just by having conversation with them. I will have a book that I've read called Even Superheroes Have Bad Days, and that's a pretty cool book to help talk about, really true good superheroes, have all these emotions too, but they can navigate and still make good choices and have good behaviors. One way you can use superheroes to your benefit is if you need to make some behavior changes. It's very persuasive. So something as simple as eating like broccoli. If your kid doesn't like broccoli, well, do you think Batman would eat his broccoli? Do you like how big and strong Batman is? Do you think he could fight supervillains if he wasn't healthy and strong? And no, he couldn't. Well, maybe we should eat our broccoli. And then that might be something you can entice your kid to make that behavior change. The other part of violence is the weapons used. So a lot of people don't want to give their kids weapons to play with, which I totally get and understand, and I was on the fence about that. But I don't know. We sort of feel like you can have a healthy exposure to a lot of things and give your child the time to kind of see what's make-believe, what's real, what's appropriate, what's not. But often they're drawn to that because when they get to play with those weapons and stuff, it is a sense of safety and control. So they see that in their superhero characters they're idolizing, and they want to emulate that. And doing all of this in safe pretend play is a good way to learn. So whatever your thoughts are on guns or not, always, teaching, that you don't aim at people or in the face, you never know if a weapon is real or fake. So being careful with that. I mean, Nerf guns are a whole nother story. So it's really up to you as an individual parent what you're willing to let your kids play with. But lots of kids like the ninja swords, lightsabers, like there's lots of stuff out there that they want. I've seen, the Spider-Man like web slingers, and there's the Iron Man fist, there's the shield for Captain America. Like there's lots of different things. Thor's hammer. Whatever they're doing, you're still teaching them how to appropriately. Like you can pretend to do that, but you don't really need to hurt people. So they can act that out and then they learn, and then like my kids' toys are plastic, and there's a definite difference between those and the real thing. And so we talk about that too. So we're always doing check-ins to make sure he understands. So as I said, there's this new transition into like sketchy good guys. Like Deadpool, there's kind of, it's got some good adult humor in it if you like that sort of thing. But not appropriate for kids. Definitely not an idol for kids, because they're not going to be able to see the difference in some of those behaviors and the sarcasm as adults that we can ferry out and see the entertainment value in that versus idolizing somebody like that. Should you be worried about the changes in these things? Even our Marvel comic universe videos, it's more graphic than it used to be, back in the Batman series in the 60s. But I mean, even in the 90s when the Batman series came out, I mean, that was fairly graphic, and the Joker is pretty disturbing, right? So should you be worried? I think you can have a lot of good conversations with your kids about it. You just need to be monitoring what they're actually watching and know and understand and be engaged. So don't set them down if they're 5 in front of Thor, Dark World, and expect them to understand and not have questions, There is a lot of violence in those, and those themes are darker. And I mean, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, like there's this really cute tree and there's this really cute raccoon, but the raccoon has got a potty mouth, right? And I like the show, but we do let our child watch those, but we're there with him, and there's a lot of foul language in them, so we are teaching him not to use that. So there's just a lot of good learning opportunities if you want to expand on that with your kids. There is so there's, like I said, with all those themes, you really want to ensure the right message is coming across, especially the messages that you value as a family unit. And that's another reason why you want to be present when you're letting your kids explore new content that they're probably going to have a lot of questions on. There's some more learning opportunity here. So I was researching superheroes one day, and I came across this preschool school that created a curriculum to explore superheroes a little bit more and go more in depth. And I think you could easily do this at home. I think it's a really, really cool idea. So I'm going to share it with you guys. So you're going to want to let them create their own superhero character. So they might choose something like the Magnificent Sarah or something, or they might already know what their superpowers are and that's going to be what their name is, but it's basically them as a superhero. They're not made to like keep anything they choose for this, right? So every superhero has an origin story. So let them create their origin story so they can have like a little drawing or doodle or something, or you can make notes for them, use picture boards or something to help them find that, because you want to display this at the end so they kind of have a visual. I don't know if you've heard of lap boards, but you basically take a file folder, and if you look it up, you can see a lot of cool little easy templates and things so that they could share. It's like a mini version of a science display board. And I think you can do a lot of cool stuff with this. So when you're developing the origin story, let their imagination and let everything be editable. Then the next step would be, so you would do that like in 1 week. In the week 2, you would research real life superheroes. So we have our pretend superheroes, right? Let's look up some real life superheroes. So look at people that, I don't know, cured smallpox with the vaccine, or firefighters locally that rescued people, or military. Look at jobs where people are true heroes. Right now you could really explore our healthcare system that are essential workers and putting themselves at risk every day to make sure we're still having the care we need. So they get a true understanding that doing good doesn't just have to be fighting bad guys, right? Fighting the bad in the world looks different, and there's a lot of different people that make that happen. Then explore, in your week 3, explore the science of superhero powers. So if you notice, most powers are come from like animal traits. So when you think of like lightning speed, well, creatures on this planet are not humans that can run that fast. It's like cheetahs, right? Cloak of invisibility. So you look at animals that are really good at camouflage. So there's a specific moth that can do that. There are, lizards, and there's fish and all sorts of things that can blend into their environment. What else? So like super strength. So like ants and geckos. So most of you that have, a toddler, preschooler, know who the PJ Masks are. So there's these gecko, this gecko character, and he has gecko strength. And I watched this Wild Kratts on PBS Kids, and there was an episode about geckos, and I learned about where these are all stuff for my kids, right? And I learned a ton about this gecko strength and how they climb on walls and stuff, which were all these powers that the gecko had. Owlette's got night vision, super cat speed, right? So owls have great vision at night, and they can fly and do cool things. So most of our superhero powers are coming from animals. So that's a really cool thing to look at. And, they already know their origin story. Maybe they already picked their power, but they're going to pick something different because they're going to be like, that animal is the bomb, and that's what I want to be like. They might also have different origin stories based on their research of superheroes. So we're changing their perspective a little bit. Superheroes don't have to be these glamorous entities that we're seeing. We can make them a little bit more real for our kids. So then let them revise that origin story as they connect to real life instead of all just being make-believe. And I think that might give them a little bit more power and confidence as they grow and realize that they can't be like the superheroes on TV, but what can they be like? They'll also understand the value of these character traits and the things they truly want to idolize. And I think that's really important to explore with our kids. So I hope you guys enjoyed those ideas for exploring the science of superheroes with your kids, and maybe put to rest some concerns you had, and some opportunity to make those into teachable moments, and maybe just to go, I never thought of that before. So either way, I hope you guys had a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe, put the little bell so you get notifications, and please comment, like, share, and follow us on Facebook at Alliance for Youth, and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Have a nice day.